It's time for another top 5 list. Last week's episode was the 5 worst tanks of World War II. And if you haven't watched yet, you can pause the video and click on my head right here. Just, right here. Now, you probably have already heard of many of the tanks on this list, but probably not all of them. So here we go. The 5 best tanks of World War II. Woo! Number 5, the German Panzer IV medium tank. Oh god, not this tank again. This is the tank I included in my very first video, which is on my brother's channel, called Banks Talks Tanks. It was really bad, so I won't even give you the link. Darn it! Who put that there? Take it down. Gosh, look like I haven't slept in weeks. Yeah. But back to the Panzer IV. In its most produced form, the Model H, it was armed with a long-barreled, high-velocity 75mm gun and two 7.92mm machine guns. It could easily take out a Sherman tank and could also take out the T-34 tank. It could go up to 42 kilometers per hour on road, or about 26 miles per hour, and it had thick armor, which was at maximum about 9 centimeters, or about 3.5 inches. Because of all this, it's number 5 on our list. Number 4, the American Sherman Firefly tank. I know what you're thinking right now. The Sherman? But you included that in the list of the 5 worst tanks of World War II last week. Well, these are very different models of the same tank. As you can see in Banks Talks Tanks number 4, which you can see right now by pausing the video and clicking on the picture of the Sherman Firefly tank right there. The Sherman came in many different models. This version was different from the early model of the Sherman, which I included in my video last week. Its major improvement was the longer, high-velocity gun. It was equipped with a long-barreled, high-velocity 76mm or 3-inch gun, which is able to penetrate the armor of the Panzer or Panzer IV from longer ranges. And it was also produced in massive numbers. This tank was eons better than its predecessor, and for that reason, it's number 4 on our list. Number 3, the British Comet Cruiser tank. You've probably never heard of this tank, and I hadn't either until about a year and a half ago. But there are many reasons why I think this tank deserves to be number 3 on our list. First, it had one heck of an armament. It was armed with a 77mm high-velocity gun, which had much better penetrative power than the gun on the Panther. Next, it could go fast. This tank could go 51 kilometers per hour, or about 32 kilometers per hour on road, which was excellent for a tank of that time. On top of that, its armor was at max 10 centimeters thick, or about 4 inches. This is why the Comet tank is number 3 on our list. We are getting towards the bottom of our list. Number 2 is the Russian T-34 medium tank. This tank is widely acknowledged to be one of the best tanks of the World War II era. First off, it was armed with a long-barreled, relatively high-velocity 76.2mm or 3-inch gun, which, while not being as powerful as the guns on the Panther or the Comet, it was still about as powerful as the gun on the Panzer IV. It was also armed with 2 machine guns, and sometimes the whole machine gun was replaced with a hull-mounted flamethrower. It was also rather fast, but the real reason why it's number 2 on the list is because of its revolutionary armor design. It was one of the first successful examples of sloped armor, which meant that its rather thin front armor, only about 4.5 centimeters or 1.8 inches, acted like about 3 inches or 7.6 centimeters of armor. That's why it's number 2 on our list. And now we shall unveil the number 1 choice on my list. It is, drumroll please, the Panzer V Panther. Not that kind of Panther. That's the right one. You probably guessed that this tank was to be number 1. I've also made a Banks Talks Tanks video about this tank, which you can see now by pausing the video and clicking on the picture of the Panther tank next to my head. It is number 1 on this list because of many reasons. The first is its top-notch armament. It's armed with a high-velocity 75mm gun, which had more firepower than 3 of the tanks on this list: the T-34, the Panzer IV, and the Sherman Firefly. Also, it had thick armor. At max, this tank had 12 centimeters, or 4.7 inches of armor, and was sloped, just like the T-34, to make the frontal armor of this tank nearly impenetrable from the shells of other tanks. It could also go up to 55 kilometers per hour or 34 miles per hour on road. Its only shortcoming was rather thin armor on its sides, thin enough to be able to be penetrated by the low-velocity guns on early model Sherman tanks. But despite that shortcoming, it still deserves the title of the best tank of World War II. If you liked this video or learned something new, then please click the like button and subscribe. I come out with new comedy/informative videos every Saturday. I also have something to discuss with y'all. I finally have a finalized monthly schedule. The first 2 Saturdays of every month will be top 5 list videos. The third video of the month will be a new series, a vlog, and the final video of the month will be a traditional comedy video. So as always, thank you for watching. I am also now uploading videos on Vimeo and Dailymotion, so check me out on those too, and maybe subscribe to my channels on those sites. The links to my channels on those sites is in the description below. And as always, thank you for watching. Number 4, the American Sherman Firefly tank. I know what you're thinking right now. The Sherman? But you included that on the list of your 5 worst tanks of World War II last week. Well, these are different models of the same tank. As you can see in Banks Talks Tanks number 4, which you can see right now by pausing the video and clicking on the darn it. Oh yeah, nice list about tanks. Oh yeah, I like the tanks. Oh yeah. Yeah. So bye.